Good afternoon, Professor C and Professor Esposito. Could you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your area of expertise?
Hello, I'm Terence T, and I'm an associate professor in finance. My areas of expertise is competitiveness and corporate finance.
So hello, my name is Mark Esposito. I'm an associate professor of business and society, and my area of expertise is competitiveness and economic development.
So today we're here to talk about fast expanding markets. Could you tell us a little bit about what they are and why they're useful to us?
So fast expanding markets is a concept that we have introduced through the seminal article on the European Business Review in 2013, and it's our first attempt to try to fill a gap between the macroeconomic analysis that tends to look at countries and markets and the micro activity at the firm's level. And we found that there was something missing in the ability for us to understand the activity from a much more granular perspective. So fast expanding market represent those markets that are coming sort of like unsolicited, and they start growing very rapidly throughout a period of time.
And I think the real problem with current economic analysis is that either we are stuck to the macroeconomics approach or the microeconomics approach. There is rarely anything in between that, and that makes it difficult for us to conduct proper analysis, especially when the world is changing at such a rapid pace.
We hear a lot of the terms developing markets, emerging markets. Are fast expanding markets the same thing?
Not at all, because when you mention developing economies, emerging markets, terms like these, they're all very macroeconomics. In the sense that if we were to stick with it, it will be very, very hard for us to eventually come down with our level of analysis. For instance, if we want to describe a region or a cluster, or even a firm level or product level, we don't have that many choices.
To add to what Terence just said, we actually built the premise of our article actually against the whole premise of the emerging economy, emerging market, because we really think they're fundamentally flawed. They tend to look at a very angular dimension of the market, and they generate sort of like an illusion of development that is mainly GDP activities, but it doesn't tell us really what happens at the market level. So we really want to generate a different focal point back to the market dimension. And we noticed that there was no real evidence in the literature that this was done before. So actually, I reinforce the no that was said when you asked the question in the first place. We are somehow different from the emerging economy, the emerging markets. Somehow we're much more authentic in identifying their relationship with the market and where they develop.
Allow me to provide an example. For instance, we all say, a lot of people say countries, various countries in Asia, like Korea, Singapore, some people still brand as emerging markets. Yet, their a level of GDP on a per person basis has already exceeded many of the developed economies. Whereas, there are many countries such as Spain, Italy, or even Greece, they are all branded as emerged or developed countries. Yet, if anything, they are actually, or perhaps we should be looking at them as submerging markets.
Finally, please tell us what's next for you and for fast expanding markets.
We have already conducted a pilot research on 25 different fast expanding markets, and what we have found is something very fascinating, and that is there are various drivers that really push for these markets to emerge in the first place. And we believe that we are actually making significant progress in terms of research when it comes to finding a new way of identifying these new pockets of excellence and growth pockets.
So we are very ambitious. We really like to change the economic mapping of the world by thinking that if we can tap on the complexity they're currently unrevealed from those markets, we could truly start thinking much more about the potential that markets create rather than analysis that tend to be most of the time very generic. We have to develop a body of literature with some sort of framework that can be transferable and scalable, and we're conducting now a second round of research where we're looking basically at whether these markets can be basically detected in the first place. So there's a lot of work ahead of us. But I think we have discovered through instruments from a conceptual perspective on how we can leverage on opportunity currently completely unknown.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.